Welcome back, everybody, to Fast Times LeBeau Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Smith, and today we have Dylan LeBeau and David LeBeau. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So, we've been away for a couple of weeks, so one of the things that I have to say is we had a graduation.
We did.
And you were a big part of that, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And so we also had a party for you and Jordan.
Yep.
So we'll put some pictures of that in there as well. So congratulations to both of you guys.
Thank you.
How's it feel to be graduated?
It feels good. I'm kind of just doing the stuff I was doing before, just more of it now that I'm not in school. So a lot more race cars. So.
Yeah, you had about a week. Has it settled in? Has it sunk in a little bit?
Not really. No.
He's adulting now.
Yeah.
It's just when I get
now
up.
Now the hard part starts.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easy right now though because I get up and enjoy what I'm doing. So.
Yeah. Well, congrats to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Jordan, because you had honors and that we had an
I
award.
didn't.
We had. Well, you did. You had some. We had an award ceremony also, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before
Yeah,
graduation.
Before graduation. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. A lot of kids.
A lot of kids.
A lot of kids. And they messed up his picture on top of every. Man, that was. We're waiting for I don't know how many kids. It seemed like 250. And then they finally called Dylan's name, and it's the wrong picture up there on the screen. I was going to scream, "That's not my kid!" But nevertheless, glitches happen.
Yeah. Well, and his wasn't the only one after that, so
Yeah.
there were a few others.
Yeah.
And then it got straightened out. But, so a couple weeks had passed. We had the graduation, but there was no racing the past couple weeks either until this past weekend, which it did get rained out. But you were able to run the heat race. So tell me about that.
Yeah, the heat race went good. Well, obviously for starters, it was the return of Blackie.
Blackie, yeah.
The past couple times we've been trying to test it. It hasn't worked out. So we're like, we'll go and just use the first practice as a test and then use the second practice, try to find some speed. Well, we get there and we only get one practice session.
One practice and just short one.
So kind of had to start on pole and learn the car as I went. And luckily everything went good. I was able to start on pole and keep it there and lead every lap.
So you've been running Biscuit at least since the start of this year.
Yeah.
So just to let some folks know who may not know, Blackie is a car that you were running how much last year?
I ran it only 2 races last year, actually. Well, 1 race, and then this rest of the season got canceled. And then we went back and raced it January to race it for a second time and ended up crashing it then. And so now it's been down since then, just trying to get everything rebuilt and get everything back together, and this was the first race back with it. So.
And that, during the time period that you actually wrecked it, that was actually was that the Red Eye?
Yes, it was the
Yeah.
Red Eye in
Okay,
January. Yeah.
So that was a pretty big event.
And he's being very nice about crashing. He had a lot of help with
Yeah,
that.
it was.
He was on his way to another victory with that car, and
You were leading.
Yeah.
we got leading, and we got hit and crashed hard, and it tore the car up bad. With modifieds, you're running on the ragged edge. There's nothing left. It doesn't take anything to spin out or wreck somebody, because if you're running up front, you're giving that car 115%, and so to tear one up that bad and then have to go chase after parts and find a clip, and thank goodness we had friends that reached out and say, hey, I think I may have what you need, it's way down in St. Petersburg, and find a shop that has the proper jig and that can get the car back together. And I know there was a lot of hurt feelings, and there was a lot of we're not going to race anymore with this particular car, and we may just make it a planter. And we were just so pleased to be able to come back
And still run good with
and
it.
still
you know?
and still
With
be
limited,
a factor.
Limited testing sessions.
Yeah, it'd still be a factor.
We
and,
didn't change anything we got there. And,
you know, the car literally was in two pieces, you know, a few months ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and I mean, we were there at the race. That was a bad hit.
that was a tough one.
That was really
That was a tough
bad.
one. Yeah,
and we happened to be standing there right where you hit, and it was ugly.
Yeah.
So thankfully, you were fine out of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't agree with how that happened, but
It's racing, and it's something that he's going to have to endure moving forward. And it's just it happens. I don't think anybody was a malicious act. I think it just was a racing. It was a racing thing. You know, when you're going that speed, like I said, and you're running as hard as you're running, yeah, it doesn't take much.
Right.
It does not take much. Just like you see on television with these guys and the pros with the super speedways and stuff like that.
especially when you're in a turn because the car's
Yeah,
already got enough stress on it.
Yeah, it just doesn't
It
take.
was just a bad spot. The car was already unloaded. It was just a bad spot.
Yes,
to get hit.
yeah. So we've moved on, and we're just so. I was just so pleased with how the turnout, how that car went. Because I mean, believe me, I'm nervous enough as it is when he's in our own stuff, you know. And here we're driving for Bobby Blake, who's a multi-time champion.
He owns the car.
He
Blackie.
owns Bob Blake and Blake family own the car. They reached out to me. I think it was before COVID or something. It says, you know, Bobby had a fairly serious accident where he broke his back.
Right.
And he says, I don't think I can race anymore. And he tapped me to do it. And I said, Bobby, I said, I really, you know, put Dylan in it. I said, put Dylan in it, because Dylan is just coming along and he's learning. And between us both, we can teach Dylan so much. You know, because Bobby's had cars that I've never been able to race, super late models and super mods, and he still has track records in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is a person that has taken Dylan under his wing and has shown him stuff that I can't teach Dylan. You know?
And we actually need to have him on, by the way.
Oh, we certainly
Bobby,
do.
we're going to have you on the
We're
podcast.
going to have you
so-
on, Bobby. We're going to have to definitely have the beat but he's been able to teach Dylan, and it's been just a huge honor to be able to drive for him, and you know, for Dylan to step in his car and run as well as he has been great. And when this car got crashed, Bobby said, "Well, I'm done. And I said, "No, let's not be done. Let's fix this thing, you know." And so we reached out to a few people, and Brian Finney was the one who actually did the work to put the clip on. We did all the taking the engine out and getting it over there to him and all the legwork, but Brian actually put the car together. And then we got it back and took it all apart and started a complete rebuild on the car. So the engine was out, the training was out, everything was tore apart, all the gauges, all the body. And myself, Mark Bell, Bobby, Dylan, and I think even Mark Blake helped out. And it's been a family. Bobby's family's has helped a ton, his daughters. And so to be able to come back and I know we didn't win the feature, but we won the heat race, and we were able to outrun the last week's feature winner. I felt was an accomplishment, you know, and it's a great boost for our moving forward that we can come back and be competitive with that car, because there was a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Whenever you have something tore up and you have to put it back together, you have tons of questions. Is it going to turn? Is it going to have good bite? Is it going to be the same? And that's the questions you can answer.
Yeah.
How did it feel to you?
It felt
and
like-
because also, I mean, because of the weather, I guess there was only one practice session,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I mean that kind of took away too, especially not ever
Yeah.
having tested the car since you got it back.
Yeah. So obviously, at first I went into it as it was a brand new car and kind of just did the the normal break-in procedure of a car.
Yeah.
Go around half throttle, and then eventually towards the end of practice, I started to pick it up a little bit. And really, the time we were slotted, I never was able to get it all the way up to speed. So
Right.
we're still fighting certain gremlins with it, and kind of had to start on pole and had no choice but to go.
Yeah, when you're on the pin, you have to go. I've said that before in this podcast. There is no messing around.
Yeah.
And I happened to be in that race because I wanted to keep Biscuit ready for you in case you thought that Blackie wasn't going to be the car that you felt would being that it's its first time out, we weren't sure.
Yeah.
A lot of question marks. So I went into that race thinking, I'm going to go out here, I'm going to run a few laps. And, of course, I stayed out for the whole race, and I told everybody, I'm just going to run a few laps and come in. But I really did enjoy being out there again. But I haven't been in that car since January.
Since the night crash.
So racing.
Yeah, because that was kind of an event in itself, because it was like father-son being able
Yes.
to race.
Yeah.
You were in Biscuit.
Yes.
He was in Blackie.
Yeah, and we didn't say anything this week at all about what we were doing.
Right.
We knew going in, we had a little plan, and you were involved in that when you got there. We kind of just talked, say, hey, I'm going to go out, I'm going to make a few laps, make sure this car is good. I can relate to him what Biscuit's doing. And Biscuit's, like I said, every time we come on this podcast, it is a solid race car. It handles well. And so I knew after the first 2 or 3 laps that it was a good car. So there was really no sense pushing it because I wasn't there really to try to win the heat race. I mean, him and Corpy had already took off. They were far enough away from me that I knew I could not reel them in unless I had a caution. And I had a little radio communication issue.
And I noticed that like around lap 3 or somewhere in there that
Yeah.
it seemed like you just kind of let up and
Yeah, there was another car out there that I wasn't quite sure where he was. I couldn't see him, and I didn't want to mess up his race. So I felt like, I'm really not here to be competitive. I'm here to basically as a support car. So I found out what I needed to know. I knew the car was good, so I moved over. I let that car go, and my biggest thing was when I came on the radio, I wanted to know if Dylan won. I couldn't hear. Rick was spotting for me. Rick Harris,
Radio
which we
issues.
had here on the show. Rick was spotting for me. Excellent. He's done an excellent job. But for some reason, when the car was on, I could not hear him. I was having some interference, some static interference when the car was running.
Okay.
So I kept asking him. I said, "Did Dylan win? Did Dylan?" But when I came around the corner, I seen that they were checking Dylan's tires, and he was the first car up, so I knew he won. So I gave him a little thumbs up as I went by, and maybe you can show that on the podcast. You have to wait a long time for me to get there. As Dylan said, it's like, where's my dad at? But I was there, and I did have a pretty good view for a while. And those boys, the 112 and Dylan were racing hard, and they were putting on a great show. So I knew we had a good car if Dylan needed it, and it was his choice on which car he wanted to run for the feature because I'm not in there for points,
It was a good heat race especially between you and the 112.
Yeah.
It was clean, so that was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they 112 always they have a lot of respect for each other. He is a very accomplished racer. I don't know if you guys when years past when the E-Mods first came out, he was one of the top cars to run with. So he definitely knows his way around New Smyrna Speedway, and so. For Dylan to be competitive with him, it's quite an accomplishment. He's an accomplished racer.
And it's always fun racing with him. We kind of can race hard and not wreck each other, which is fun. You know?
So we had a little chat on Facebook, and I appreciate him racing us clean, and we'll do the same for him every
Sure.
time.
Yeah.
So, in your words, describe the heat race for us.
I was just so focused on, trying different lines and finding what the car did and didn't like, and I had to do it under pressure, so it kind of made it a little bit more difficult, but kind of...
Had a good in-car camera.
Yeah,
so
kind of something new we're trying to do is do more in-car videos,
Right.
and I'm posting those to YouTube, so you can kind of see in that me move around the track a little bit and try to find more stuff, and in that you can't tell that the 112's right on my rear.
You.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
he was working you big time.
Yeah, it looked like it was. He looked like it was like right on you for a while there,
Yeah.
from my point of view. And I had Curtis and I think we said the 44. So I had my hands. I was busy,
Yeah.
racing or driving with those guys. So, but it was fun watching you.
Yeah, it was
watching
a-
you
it was a
work.
fun
The
race.
restart, the start was always good. You're very good on the starts. So. I don't want you to give up your secrets, but yeah, you do a good
Pedal on
job.
the right.
Oh boy, these kids, the kids are tough, man. They're brutal, but I was pushing it.
Were you?
Yes.
So other than some things to work out, just to dial in the car, I mean, it seems like you and Bobby will stay on this path then, and you'll continue to drive Biscuit?
I think so. I really enjoy driving, and I enjoy driving with Dylan. So we'll see. I still
we
have
might
the.
put Jordan in it for a race.
I still have the 88. The 88 is still in the right behind the curtains, and that was my car. That Dylan really found himself with Biscuit, but the 88 and me clicked up, just like him and Biscuit. So I want to get back in my own car. I call her Champ because she won the championship.
Somebody put a boat in her way though.
Yes. Yeah. Well, happy wife, happy life. You'll learn. And it's not bad to have a little change. And you need to go and relax and
Work hard, play hard.
yes, and just kind of
Or is it
decompress.
Work hard, play harder.
Yes. And but yeah, so that's the idea moving forward. We'll talk to Bobby and see how many races he wants to run. He may not want to run every single one. Our schedule is very busy with
everything else.
with the EMODs. And one thing I'd like to say also is kudos to the racetrack. They tried to get that race in.
Yeah.
They did their best. They didn't call it early. We got in there. It rained, and it rained hard the first go round.
That was the super late model.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that was before. That was during practice that it rained.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're talking about the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I wasn't there yet.
Earlier in the
And
afternoon.
then they dried the track and got qualifying and racing, and they started the race and heat races and started the supers. So they gave it their best shot. That track does get really wet, and
And the track, I thought the track dried up great. The last time it rained before a race, we had huge weepers through three and four. They weren't there this past week. It dried up
so
nicely.
maybe
Yeah.
they did something with the drainage.
I think it might have just been
Just not
the
quite
la-
enough
the
water.
last time it rained that whole night before, so it just had all that time to sit and
Okay.
soak up.
Yeah, so kudos to those
Yeah.
guys. I'm sure they hear a lot of negative stuff. We appreciate them allowing us a place to race and the
And
effort.
they posted on Facebook that they're going to try to do double features one night to make up for it,
Yeah,
which I kind of like double features.
yeah.
Last
I'm
time-
not a fan.
The last time we
I
did
don't
it-
really care about the double features. I'm just like, hey, if it rained out, it's over and done.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I know they want to give everybody their quote, money's worth, but double features is tough on race cars.
Would they, because how many different classes did not actually get to race?
I know for sure it was the EMODs.
Bombers, super stocks, and ground pounders.
Okay, so
I think.
So when you're talking about a double, are they talking about doing every
Probably
class
not
in one
on the
night?
same night.
Or just
I don't
kinda
know.
alternating?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The message was they're going to try to do double features, and I'm okay if they don't, because it's just harder on the equipment at that point. If they're going to run us 50 laps solid, but to run 25, take it off, let the car cool down, the tires are going to, I mean, I don't want to say too much, but I mean, it's just not conducive to me to run 2 races in one night,
Right.
unless they really absolutely have to for points. But they've had EMODs up plenty of times this year. The trucks and the sportsmen's, and I'm not sure what other division, the pros.
Yeah.
Those guys need to race too, So that's just me personally. I know you want to run as much as you can, so it's just what my thoughts on it. So let's talk about work today.
Yeah.
We had a very cool project we've been working on.
We've been working on.
Yeah. So we have at NASCAR Racing Experience, we have the 48 car from
Hendrick
Motorsports that Jimmy actually drove
Yeah.
at the Indy Speedway.
So not just a lookalike, it is a
It is
real
the
thing.
Hendrick car.
car
It's
that
got
he
the tag- got
drove.
the plate
And
on
it's
it.
one of my favorite cars.
Yeah.
And we put an engine in it and transmission, and it was giving us a little bit of a hard time getting the all the glitches worked out of it. But today we were able to bring it over to the track, and Dylan was testing it today, and it just went.
It went smooth for the first. Before we'd always have an issue. It'd run good for one lap maybe, and then it'd start spitting and sputtering. Coming in, it sounded like gunshots the way it was popping, scaring people. Just all kinds of problems, and it always had. It wasn't a fuel issue. It always had fuel pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It had the basic stuff, and we were just pulling our hair out. Like, what could it be?
Yeah. But
So how long has it been in Daytona's possession?
I'm not for sure. I know the car's been around a while, and then getting engines was an issue at one time for COVID issue. Remember
During the COVID times,
getting parts and getting. So we had it out for February, and we weren't able to actually use it as the car we wanted to use for students because we didn't get it running 100%. But Dylan and Doug, they went through it from top to bottom, changed fuel cell, changed lines, changed all kinds of stuff, and I think they found it. I think they found the little gremlin, and it ran great today. But the coolest thing is just how that car drives, how it sits, knowing that it's seen action. Mm-hmm. So that's got to be special. I had a chance to drive it a couple times, but I never got that many laps in it. So today you got more laps in it than probably anybody has.
Yeah.
What did you think?
It's the best handling car in our fleet for sure. I think the second best handling car that I've ever driven there was a DEI car, but that car was only a show car. I mean, it was a real DEI car. It had the panel and everything, but it was just a show car, and it sat more like a real race car, but it didn't.
I don't think they changed much. I think they left the seats and stuff in them.
Yeah, but this one, you sit in it, it's like you sit real low. You sit like a race car, and it pulls left like a race car.
Right.
Well, I know this 48. Both of you have been pretty eager to.
It's one of those. It's one of those cars that when you look at it, there's a coolness factor to it, and you're just
still got some body skewness.
Yeah, it's got some stuff that you've seen that they've done to it, that it's just not. It just makes it very fun and cool to drive, and that's going to be awesome when they get that car ready to present to the customer and know that Jimmy actually drove that car.
Yeah.
That's got to be a pretty cool idea, or to me.
Any Jack and else?
There's a couple things.
Yeah, we can't say a whole bunch, but we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot with this car, and it's a gift that keeps on giving, if you will, because the more we spend time with it, the more we're like, damn, these guys. That's why they are the best of the best, because there's not one thing that they haven't looked at and worked and made better, faster, slicker, thinner, however you want to put it. It's a very cool race car. So when you see me post it, or we'll shoot you a picture for the podcast, it's going to be great to have the general public be able to drive that car on. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Well, maybe we can just change the skin or something.
And
stick Dylan in an ARCA race. How about that?
I don't know if it would fit the rules.
They chopped the cage on it.
Yeah, I don't know if it would fit the rules. I think they have to have a different composite body.
And frame, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because that thing does turn really good at super speedways.
Yeah.
But moving forward, what do we got on the? We have Beefy. What we're working on.
Possible race this weekend. It's pushing it.
That's pushing it.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think let's get it running this week.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it running, and there is a test session. I think Sunday. So maybe we'll shoot for that and see how that goes. I know I have to work all weekend, so
Yeah.
I know how your schedule is.
Being Hollywood and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so big test session, I guess, from the post that I saw on New Smyrna.
Yeah, I think that's open to the public,
Yeah.
open to everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
which is nice. You
Yeah.
know, it gives people a chance to get out there and get some cars going on. Maybe the truck. I mean, we need to get some laps on that truck.
The truck's on the week after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be something that you may have to take it out there and shake it down and see what you got.
So then if you guys don't race this weekend, then it would be the trucks next.
Right.
And then,
And after
is
that,
there an E-Mod race the following?
I don't know.
I heard we're off for a little bit on the E-mods. That's what I heard.
Well, we got this 2 weeks. I don't know
Okay.
if we're back on after that.
Okay. So the truck is it's the next focus.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to ask my secretary over there. I'm terrible with dates, so and anybody that knows me well knows that I'm terrible. I'm doing good for the next couple days. You know, after that, I can't tell you.
Yeah. We know what's going on this Saturday.
Right.
Saturday after,
Right.
it's a different story.
All
How'd
right.
it feel to be back racing?
Honestly,
Coming out of retirement.
yeah. It was tough for me because, I was the logistics guy, the loading guy. I was supposed to be the hot dog making guy,
Yeah.
but I that duty we decided that was enough. So I was stretched a little thin, but always whenever you get a chance to get in a race car and buckle in, and take that green, it's something special. So.
And I said to Rick, I want sometime this season for there to be a night that you're the driver and I'm the crew chief.
I know we talked about
Yeah,
that,
but
but
when you had the 88 and I was crew chief, I thought I had a lot of fun doing that. I don't know if you.
I did, but I think I recognize the
You
talent.
can still wheel though.
I can still drive with the best of
I
them.
seen you do some cool shit in the 88.
I
was
did some
standing
cool
in the,
shit
I
in
was standing
January. I think I won that race, and we can discuss that off the air. But
I was standing in the infield and saw your right rear and you straightened it back up.
yeah,
That was
well,
kind of cool.
but I always said this, and Molly can attest to it. I said, when my kids decide they want to race, I'm gonna wrench for them, and so that's what I'm doing, and it doesn't bother me, not in the least at this point anymore. At first, it might have just a little bit, but now it does not bother me. I have much more fun watching you do your thing. I do, and knowing that I know what you got because I put it in there for you, and then how you and I can chat back and forth. Is it special to be on the racetrack with you at the same time? It is. Am I going to outrun you? I doubt it. I very much doubt it. When you have the talent to move further past than what I was able to do, so and that's great. I have no problem with that.
So let me ask something though. 'Cause
Go ahead.
I've always wondered.
Go ahead.
If it's father-son,
Right.
let's just say a scenario of Dylan's in the lead, you're
Right.
second,
Right.
and you are right there.
Right.
Are you going to go for it? What would you do?
I am so happy to watch him win the race, and I sit back there and watch it. And I'm tearing up right now just thinking about it. It does not bother me. It does not bother me to see him do that. It's actually much more rewarding. So that's my answer.
Good. Well,
Tearjerker.
with
One
that,
way to end it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. With that,
Yeah.
good
You're all
moment.
right.
Good moment.
You're all right.
Good moment.
Must have been one hell of a mailman. Must have been one hell of a mailman.
He was pretty quick.
I've always been quick. Ask my secretary. Yeah. No, it's fun. It really is. And when you have that talent, why try to hold it? Why try to hold it back?
Right.
So
All right.
I still get to do my stuff at Petty, and do these high speed advanced students and
You just like to strut down pit road.
I do. Well, they call me the Rooster, so there's a reason why, But, yeah. That really, there's nothing better than watching your kid do that.
Sure.
Nothing.
Yeah.
There's no win or anything that could come up that can beat that. So that's where I'm at with it.
Well, and I do know, you've told me several times that, you could be biased, but you also really honestly see the talent that he's got.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I'm harder on him than he is on, I'm very tough on him. So if I see something that he's screwing up, I'll tell him. Same with Bobby. You have to have thick skin and be able to critique yourself very, and I'm sure he does it to himself
right.
more than anybody. But to continue just to win a race, it just doesn't hold the weight as if your kids are running with you. It just doesn't. So it's not that I don't try, because I certainly do. I'll go as hard as I can. But that was my whole contention. I have two great boys, and one of them decided to race, one of them decided not to. So we support them both in their decisions, and
sure.
I really don't miss it. I don't. If he decides not to race tomorrow, I'll continue to race, forever.
Yeah.
But if he wants to keep doing what he's doing, I'm gonna be there and give him 110 every time.
Yeah.
So
you're not really missing out. Your role
no,
just
no,
changed.
I'm not missing out. I think it's actually more rewarding for me to help him do it. Really, So, and we have amazing sponsors, and I think they see that, and that's why they're behind us. So.
I
didn't make you do nothing.
All right, guys. Well, with that, you want to throw the checkered flag there, Dylan?
Let you throw it.
All right. Well, I didn't get to see this one as soon as you did, but I did see it Saturday. It was really slow. Come on, LeBeau. but you did win it. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. It was a
third
good night.
heat race I've won this year. I've never won a heat race until this year, and I've won 3 of them.
Really?
Yeah. Because I've never tried.
Yeah. Well, it pays points.
Yeah,
now.
that's why I'm trying.
So so it's good. The heat races do. It's not just for lining you up
Yeah, give you
anymore.
points
Right.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of if you're
Giving you a reason to go out there and
Yeah.
actually race.
right. So like guys like Curtis, who's I think second in points.
Him or Corby?
Okay.
Yeah, they're close, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's getting all he can get.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, good. Well, fans, don't forget to check out our Facebook pages, LeBeau Racing page, and the Fans of Dylan LeBeau group. So
As well as my YouTube channel.
the YouTube channel, yep, and also the Fast Times LeBeau Racing podcast, which you can find on Facebook and also on YouTube. So, with that,
Race hard and race clean.
thank you all.
Just had to cry. Loki dog.